Alright, what's good everyone? Welcome back to another video. In this video, I'm going to be editing 4K video on the OnePlus 13 just to see how it does in a live video editing session. I'm not going to really cut this video too much. I just want you to see the raw experience of what it's like to edit in LumaFusion 4K video straight from the OnePlus 13's camera. And yeah, so let's get into it. So I just recorded this video about the S25 Ultra and I'm just going to import that to the project. And then this is my basic video editing workflow. So I go through the file. On LumaFusion, you can't see the waveforms properly unless the clips are like short. So I'm just going to go through the file and cut the clip so that it is in shorter sections. And then as you can see, it transitions to the waveforms that are more accurate to what you're hearing. And then that way I can cut the video more accurately to what I'm saying and stuff like that, to cut out mistakes and silences and things like that. So now that we did that, I'm actually going to rotate the phone so it's more comfortable to video edit on. I like this format right here, this layout. Then I'm going to adjust it, make sure my timeline is easy to grab with my right thumb. And then to start the video or pause the video, you can actually touch the screen itself instead of pressing the button, because sometimes I miss that. Anyway, so now that we're ready, I'm just going to go. So first things first, cut out all the empty silence at the beginning and the mistake. Press the scissors and then boom, delete. And then now that's an easy empty spot. I could cut that. So let's listen.
S25 series just dropped, and I am actually going to be ordering one. Everyone's going to say that. I kind of feel that way.
So a mistake, I'm just going to go to right here, right before the mistake. Scissors tool on the other end, then delete. So already I can see some stuttering, and like when I delete something or I cut, it shows a black screen. So that might not necessarily be the OnePlus 13 that not being able to handle it. It could just be LumaFusion giving problems with the lack of optimization, especially for the newer chip. So hopefully that's the case and not the phone.
I kind of feel that way.
So more mistakes. I'm just gonna cut. Boom. Delete that stuff. Go back.
I kind of feel that way in some ways as well. However, I do think the S25 series is an improvement nonetheless. We're talking about, the more power.
Thin bezels. It's so easy to accidentally leave an app for me. But yeah, I'm back in. Let me just turn on auto rotate so that I can actually just turn the phone. Okay, boom. And now I'm just gonna delete silence right here and delete silence here. Let's see what I'm saying.
We're talking about, the more power, the efficiency. I think the S25s are gonna be really good phones, and
I could delete the it's not really necessary, and I just said it here.
And people
big pause, could delete that space right there.
People look at yearly phone upgrade. People look at
mistake, can delete all that.
People look at yearly phone updates and think like, oh, it's the same as last year's. But the people who bought their phone last year, these phones are not necessarily for you.
Can delete the empty space and the So basically, if it's just a talking video like this, then our workflow is just deleting the empty space, deleting the mistakes, just getting through the video, cutting it down, and trimming it to, one continuous flow of talking where it's understandable to the viewer. That's what the workflow is for these kind of videos. If it's more in depth with like, different angles, effects, and stuff like that, then obviously I gotta do a little bit more. But I think the main edit or the main video is just cutting it down and making sure that, what I'm saying is clear if there's audio like that. And then after I do that, I add the sauce, and I can do that all on the smartphone. So hopefully the OnePlus 13 is good for all that kind of stuff, because I mainly edit on my smartphones and tablets and stuff like that. I don't really use a computer nowadays for working. So yeah, I'm just cutting out silence, and I'm gonna go back to where I was because I was talking a little bit.
Really good phones, and people look at yearly phone updates and think like, oh, it's the same as last year's, but I know it's very similar to 24, but I think it looks really good in terms of the aesthetic. The
mistake right here, I could just, delete.
And the aesthetic, the look of it, for Samsung devices right now.
A lot of empty silence or empty space, you can delete that very easily. And so far, we're about, a couple minutes into this video editing process. Still feels very smooth. There is the black, stutter or whatever when you play and pause or delete. and cut. But so far, it's like not really impacting my workflow, so that's good.
Now, like for me personally, I don't think smartphones they should change. A phone, like for example, a phone like this with this kind of design.
I could delete this right here.
A phone like this. A phone like this with this kind of design. Of course, there are gonna be some people who like it. Tech enthusiasts, people on.
To delete the unnecessary.
Enthusiasts, people on.
Leave the tech. So it's just like small, intricate, little edits like this, just lining up things and making sure the audio is consistent. It's not like an obvious cut in terms of what you're hearing.
High-end tech enthusiasts, people on tech YouTube and stuff like that, they are to some extent when they add like little features, like for example, shooting in.
Like this can be cut. It's not really a natural pause, I think. And I'm also editing with the official OnePlus case on. And yeah, that obviously a case on the phone will make it feel or get hotter because, that's just how it works. It's like wearing a jacket. And I feel like the phone definitely feels hot through the case. So, maybe without the case, it would perform a little bit better. But actually, let me get the heat gun to just see how it's going. So we're not even 10 minutes in. And the phone is already at 41 degrees Celsius from the front on the screen, in the back 38 degrees Celsius through the case. Let me take off the case and see what the temperature is reading on the phone itself on the back. Back of the phone without the case, around 40 degrees Celsius. So the phone is definitely heated up. I didn't check the temperature before I started this, but I can tell you that it's definitely, at least 10 degrees more cool than this normally. Okay, so back in.
Nice. They are in those senses, but for the most part,
Could delete that pause.
They're selling their phones majority and subtly changed to kind of reach where you want to go, and I feel like.
Okay, long pause. Could delete from right here. So I'm not sure if you can see on the video, but like I'm trying to line up exactly where I, start talking about something else, or like the small little pocket of a pause, and then you cut there so that it sounds natural when it goes into the next clip.
I feel like Samsung.
If you don't do that, then yeah, it will just sound weird and choppy.
Where you want to go? I feel like Samsung was.
It's a little fast. If I can add a little bit more space.
Where you want to go? I feel like Samsung was.
I'm not gonna spend all day on this because it's just a small video, but.
Where you want to go? I feel like Samsung was experimenting for a while now with the S21. And they had like the two-plated design with the S21 series, and it was kind of cool and different. But then they kind of refined it and simplified it with the S22s. And since the S22, they kind of been suddenly changing it and making it better.
Can delete this, and then you go back and listen to it.
Changing it and making it better.
Sorry, it's not the most amazing. If I zoom in a little bit, just fix that. Some of these things, like I don't want to waste a lot of time on it because, like I said, this is just a talking video. It's not necessarily anything too crazy. And if I spend a lot of time on it, as a person who has limited time, this I feel like it's not necessarily worth it to do that all the time for every little thing.
It better, and I feel like
for bigger videos, I'll definitely be more meticulous and locked in on every small detail.
Subtly changing it and improving it.
So I'm gonna cut the video a little bit more and more as I'm not talking because I'm focused on editing right now, so it's not gonna be the most entertaining. There will be cuts in that to empty out, like to cut out the dead space where I'm not talking and explaining anything to you who are watching this video editing session. So hopefully that's okay with you guys. But yeah, I'm really just cutting out the empty space and the mistakes.
And then that will be the staple. Like for example, iPhones have looked pretty much the same for the last decade.
And if you guys are wondering, I know in previous videos where I made videos talking about video editing experience and stuff like that, how flagship phones, Android phones haven't been able to do as good as iPhones and iPads. What I look for in a video editing experience and also apps is this right here. My main thing is the waveform, being able to see an accurate representation of the waveform and what, you know, sounds are being made and stuff like what I'm saying basically. So every word that I say shows up in the waveform as like a sound signal or whatever, and I can edit based on that. It helps me to quickly cut through my video because it shows me an accurate representation of the sounds. If I see a spike, then I know that like I'm talking or I'm being more loud. And if there's a dip to like nothing, then I know it's silence or like, you know, the end of a word or a sentence type of thing. So being able to see the waveforms is very essential and key to me when it comes to video editing on a mobile device. Video editing in general, but a lot of mobile apps like KlineMaster and, you know, some of the apps that people recommend, they don't have accurate waveforms, and you can't like necessarily edit like this where you're mainly looking at the waveform to cut through and edit the audio, the talking that you're working on. So that's why I use LumaFusion. I see it as like the main option for smartphone devices when it comes to video editing. And as much as LumaFusion cheeses me and gives me problems, doesn't work as well as I want it to, especially on Android, I still got to use it because it's like the only video editing software on Android that offers, you know, this smooth experience of like seeing the waveform and editing it. And trust me, I've tried like all of them. I tried, you know, Premiere, Rush. I've tried VN Video Editor. VN Video Editor is pretty good for a free video editor. But like I said, the waveforms, I need that. I need a good experience for that. So that's why I use LumaFusion, and that's why I'm so critical on the video editing experience on Android, because LumaFusion just gives problems. So far in this session is being pretty good.
You know, Apple suddenly changes too, like the goal.
But a part of that is because this video is pretty simple. It's just cutting through straightforward. But if I were to add like effects and, you know, multiple tracks and stuff like that, maybe it would give me problems. But right now it's good. So this is good enough for me right now. For simple videos, I can just cut through on the OnePlus 13, it seems like. But we'll see as we, you know, get through this video and finish.
And the growth around the edge.
And there you have it. LumaFusion just crashed for the first time on the OnePlus 13. Honestly, LumaFusion is buggy, but it doesn't crash that often on, you know, my other devices like Samsung devices and, you know, Apple devices. I haven't experienced too many crashes, so the fact that it just outright crashed is kind of crazy. Normally it would be like lagging and glitching and stuff, but crashing, that's kind of annoying that just happened. So yeah, let's get back into that. All right. See, like right here, I can see that I'm not going to be talking. This is empty space where I'm thinking. I can easily just cut that. I don't even have to watch it. I could just see this empty space and just be like, all right, yeah, not talking there, cut that. And I could leave a little bit just to see if I need the empty space for the video, like if the pause is necessary or whatever. And if it's not, it's good.
Enough, because you're using these phones
see?
Every day.
Perfect. Another empty space, cut that without even watching to see what happens. So that's why waveforms are very important for me when it comes to video editing, especially when it's talking videos. Specifically, talking videos and like videos where you're using music, like you want to line up certain things on the beat. You can see the waveform and then edit according to that. It just makes it so fast and easy.
Yeah, and like especially when it's a product that is being sold for 7 years, or like the
pause. I can delete that. And then sometimes I will listen ahead and I go back and delete the empty spaces that I know like are not necessary for the video.
Will also accentuate that design as well. So
a lot of times in LumaFusion as well, issues and glitches start to happen around like, I would say like halfway through a project file, you start to see bugs and glitches more often. So we'll see when we get to the half point. Okay, so I gotta cut this clip so that it shows the proper waveforms. As you can see, it will transition into showing it. This one is too big, so we'll go to the middle of that. Just press cut or split, and then boom. Now it's showing the proper waveforms. That's a thing that LumaFusion does. I asked them about it. They didn't. They kind of said it was a limitation of the OS, but when I cut, it shows the waveforms anyways. So I don't really know. On iPhones and iPads, it just shows the proper waveforms. So that's a benefit for video editing on iOS again. But yeah, now I have the proper waveforms. I can continue doing what I was doing. So yeah, we are past the halfway mark, and the OnePlus 13 is still performing really good in video editing. I'm starting to see some stuttering here. Hopefully it's just a little bit and it doesn't get too crazy.
Yes, but like those really help in terms of using
Yeah, it's starting to stutter now. It's unfortunate.
Those really help in terms of like using those extra lenses. My S25 Ultra and it's my S25 Ultra and it's the videos are coming, so make sure you subscribe so you don't miss them. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below on what you think about the S25 Ultra, the S25s in general, and what Samsung is doing. If you are somebody who doesn't like what they're doing, if you feel like they're Apple or whatever, let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Until the next video, we're out.
Alright, so that's basically it. Now I'm just gonna, fade out the video, fade in the video, probably add like music and a few like small things, but the main edit is done, and that's mainly what I need out of my smartphones when it comes to video editing. That's like the main bulk of the work. So the fact that I was able to get through that pretty comfortably. The phone is hot, so we're gonna check it again. Temperature is around 41 with the case off, and then the screen is around 42.7 degrees Celsius. So phone definitely is heating up. It's not like unbearable. I do feel it though. You can definitely, I think it's like borderline, like right before it starts to become uncomfortable. So that is something to note. If you go on for longer, this is probably like a 30-minute session. If you're going for longer than this, you might experience a hotter temperature on the OnePlus 13. And there is other things you can do, like to maybe boost the performance. If you start seeing lag, you can add it to the game menu where you can kind of customize the performance mode for LumaFusion if you wanted to do that. See, like I opened up the game app and it's telling me that the device is hot, so let it cool down, stuff like that. But you can definitely add LumaFusion to here and then push the phone to gaming mode and get even more performance out. But then it might also thermal throttle and slow down faster. Who knows? I'm still have to test it out. But yeah, the video editing experience for now is decent. But as always, LumaFusion, I feel like always works fine on the first couple edits on these phones, and then eventually it starts to get worse and worse over time. So I'll definitely make an update video, update you guys on how this phone is doing with video editing in the long term. So stay tuned for that. Make sure you're subscribed. And I have a video editing comparison between the S25 Ultra that's coming very soon. And I'm also going to be, talking about what's the best phone for video editing, for mobile video editing. So yeah, that is all for now. We out. Peace.